Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today the big announced AEW Fight Forever roster update. Before we start, it would be nice if you would leave a subscription there, because there will be many more videos coming soon to the AEW game and of course to WWE games. The reason for this video is the following news published this week by Fightful Select. AEW video game Fight Forever roster size is around 50 wrestlers. 50 wrestlers is not much because AEW has a lot more than 100 wrestlers under contract. This is the question we always asked ourselves, especially in the SmackDown vs. Raw games. Who made the cut? Because with the big AEW roster and the comparatively small video game roster, we can really ask ourselves, who made the cut? Yes, there are some names confirmed by the gameplay. But do you know that by now 80% of the roster is already known due to certain leaks? We look at all wrestlers that were leaked and analyze exactly who has the best chances to get into the game. But let's start with the ones that will be in the game. The first leak is Adam Cole. This was confirmed by Fightful. Also, Chance and his entrance sounds, Boom, and Adam Cole Bay Bay, were recorded at AEW tapings. Adam Page was also confirmed by crowd chants that were recorded. Also, you saw his t-shirt in the crowd in the Darby vs. Jungle Boy video. For Anna Jay there were also crowd chants, as well as for Britt Baker, but her t-shirt is also seen in the crowd, so she will be in the game. Bryan Danielson was confirmed by Fightful Select. For Cash Wheeler there were Cash and FTR chants that were recorded. Chris Jericho was seen in the first gameplay trailer 2020. Chuck Taylor was confirmed by Best Friends chants. CM Punk should be safe as the biggest name, but was also confirmed by Fightful. Darby Allin was confirmed in gameplay videos. For Dax Harwood there were also Dax chants. For Eddie Kingston there were also chants at the tapings a month ago. Jeff Hardy is the biggest surprise for me because he hasn't been with AEW long. But at the tapings 2 weeks ago they recorded Hardy and We Want Jeff chants for the game. John Silver also had crowd chants. So did Jon Moxley, but you can see his t-shirt in the crowd. Jungle Boy was officially confirmed by the gameplay. For Keith Lee there were also chants at the Dark tapings a month ago. Just like with Jeff, I'm surprised because both are only since this year at AEW. Kenny Omega should be clear to everyone that he is in the video game. Chris Statlander was confirmed in the Last Scene gameplay. For Luchasaurus chants were also recorded at the tapings, as well as for Matt Hardy. Here, Delete chants were recorded. For Matt and Nick Jackson there was to see their finisher move at the end in the first trailer. Furthermore, you can see Young Bucks t-shirts in the crowd. MJF was leaked by crowd chants. Brody Lee is also preserved as a legend in the game because crowd chants were also recorded for him. Nyla Rose was introduced together with Statlander on Wednesday. Orange Cassidy t-shirts are also seen in the crowd, plus AEW has also recorded chants for Hin. Owen Hart was confirmed by AEW on Twitter a few months ago that he will be in the game. Paul White has also received chants for the video game and is more or less another legend in the game. Zero Miedo chants were recorded, so Penta El Zero Miedo is also in the game. Chants were also recorded for QT Marshall, which surprises me a little bit. Ruby Soho was confirmed by Fightful. Scorpio Sky was confirmed by crowd chants at the tapings. Sheeta was confirmed in the first gameplay trailer. Sting was leaked with t-shirts in the crowd and again confirmed by Fightful that he will be in the game. Chants were also recorded for Tay Conti and you can find her t-shirt in the crowd. Chants were also recorded for the Bunny. Thunder Rosa confirmed in an interview that she has seen her model and will be in the game. Trent Beretta was also leaked by the Best Friends chants. Wardlow confirmed in an interview that he will be in the game and has recorded audios for the story mode. Someone who definitely won't be in the roster is Cody Rhodes, because according to news AEW took him out of the game after he left AEW and went to WWE. So Cody would be in the game if he hadn't left AEW. So this is what the current roster of Fight Forever looks like, with all wrestlers officially confirmed by Fightful, confirmed themselves in interviews or confirmed by crowd chants or t-shirts in the crowd, as this was in the past always an almost certain proof that the wrestler will be in the game. Except for 4 wrestlers are understandable and safe for me. Only with Keith Lee and especially Jeff Hardy I am surprised, as they have only been with AEW for a few months. But Jeff Hardy is a big name, you should have him in the game if you have the opportunity. The other 2 are the Bunny and QT Marshall. Because if I have a roster that has only 50 wrestlers, these 2 would not be among my top 50, as there are much bigger names at AEW. How do you find the roster so far? Write it in the comments. The current roster already includes 40 out of 50 wrestlers. Of them are 9 women's wrestler, 5 tag teams and 3 so-called legends with Owen Hart, Paul White and Brody Lee. Thus 10 roster places would still be unknown. Fightful reported that the roster has a size of about 50 wrestlers. So it may be that there are a little less or a little more like 50 wrestlers. I would tend to get a roster which is bigger than 50 because AEW still had some important new signings. 55 wrestlers can also be meant if you talk about around 50, which I would guess. But let's take a look at the wrestlers who not under the confirmed 40 wrestler. Here is the list of all wrestler under AEW contract that are not confirmed. 67 wrestlers in the men's division are missing. That is a huge number. And take a look at the big names, the names that are regularly on AEW television. There are some huge names like Sammy, Miro, Malachi Black, Christian Cage, Andrade and Wheeler Yuta. Also a huge number of missing tag teams like PNP, Private Party, Red Dragon, Butcher and the Blade and the Gun Club. Let's take a look at the missing women's and legends. For the women's side, the name who stands out is Jade Cargill. If she is in, they had 10 of 50 wrestlers as women's. What would be a good number? The legends are all under contract with AEW and could potentially be in the game. So if AEW want, they could have not the best but a okay legends roster, what I think has to be in a wrestling game. So let's take a look at who could be in the final spots for the game. I've divided this into 3 categories. Biggest names, AEW originals and most television matches in AEW. Here's the list for the biggest names. I think Samoa Joe, Red Dragon and Tony Storm are not in the release roster cause they signed only a few months or weeks ago. Same goes for Wheeler Yuta because his push is only a few weeks old and I don't think they put him in the game with his status where he was with best friends. But for me he is a huge candidate for a DLC release. The next list is for the AEW originals or the wrestlers they signed in 2019 or before the pandemic at the beginning of 2020. Because that's when the AEW video game was planned and I think you have already set the majority of the roster and added the new wrestlers with big names only. I think the names here have a good chance to be in the game. Wrestlers like Dustin Rhodes, Daniels, Kazarian, Sammy, Ray Phoenix were all at the first AEW show, or guys like Jake Hager, PNP and Pac were all at the first Dynamite show. So I would bet we will see the biggest names on this AEW originals list in the video game. But we don't know when the real roster cut was. In this list you see the guys who are not confirmed yet but are all on the top list of most AEW Dynamite matches all time. And for the all wrestler in this list should be in the game. Because they are on television nearly every week. There are some wrestlers missing like Miro and Andrade but they signed later. The question is, who are the final 10 to 15 wrestlers that are in the AEW video game? The roster size of AEW is 132 wrestlers. The game only have around 50, maybe 55. So it is certain that many wrestlers will not be in the game for the time of the release, and there are also some bigger names that do not get a place in the roster. Of course, AEW can and will eventually release DLC or bring wrestlers into updates. At least that's what it's being talked about. Let's come to my assessment who could occupy the last places. You can write the names in the comments where you think that they will still come into the game. The first one who I think is in the game is Ray Phoenix, and I guess he is safe. Kenny talks so much about his moveset and how they put it in the game, and his brother and tag team partner is confirmed already. The next one who is a lock for me is Miro. He featured on the AEW Games website and was a huge TNT champion and signs nearly 2 years ago. The Inner Circle members are a must-have in the game as well. They were a huge part of AEW since the first Dynamite show. Sammy, Santana and Ortiz have a high chance for me, but Jake Hager, I don't know, he was in the stable but he was not much on television. And dear, there are a lot of bigger names, like Andrade El Idolo and Malachi Black. And naturally Christian Cage, who have also a good chance to be in. Then we have Lance Archer, who has many big matches on Dynamite, and or Dustin Rhodes, who was there since day one. I think we see at least one of them, hopefully both. There would be 6 spots left. Maybe they go with Hobbs and Ricky Starks. They have much TV time, and Starks is the FTW champion as well. For the women's roster, I think Riho and Jade Cargill are safe. Rio was the first women's champion and Jade is the TBS champion. The last 2 spots, I hope it goes to 2 legends like Taz and DDP or something. Or maybe another tag team like Private Party or Butcher and Blade, who were all in AEW since 2019. You can see the spots are not many enough for the huge AEW roster. I put big names in, but there are still guys like Pac who is missing. As you can see, it's not easy to bring in every big name in AEW. There have been talks about a DLC release. For me it's a must-have. the real roster is too big. I have made a DLC concept with a tag team, legends, future stars and Ropac. Who cool would it be if we can Taz and Hook as a tag team or have some Ring of Honor wrestlers in? What you guys think about the roster? And who would you put in the final spots or maybe in a DLC release? Let me know in the comments. I hope you liked the video and see you soon.